Good morning, students. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about various factors modifying the drug effect. You may have observed that the same drug produces the different effect in different person, or even in the same person, a drug can produce different effect at different time. So we are going to see various factors which affect the overall effect of the drug. Now let's see various factors which can modify the effect of the drug. Factor is the body size. Different person having a different weight can require different dose, particularly when drug has person to person very high level of person to person variation. And if the drug is very highly lipid soluble, then in this couple the same drug require different dose, will require different dose, right? So how to calculate the dose of the drug for individual? Where the normal drug dose is made for 70 kg person. You can remember that. So we can divide the body weight by 70 into the average dose. So it will roughly give idea about per kg dose of the drug. Remember, the normal dose is made for 70 kg person. So the weight is less than 70 kg, then person is getting little bit higher dose. And if weight is higher than 70 kg, then person is getting a less dose. But in the standardized dose, this drug has a very high safety of margin, and in the very higher, very large dose range, it produces the similar effect. So that is standardized dose in 80% of the drug does not require modification from person to person. But when we have to give precise dose, then this formula is useful. Then some very highly toxic but very important drug like anti-cancer drug are given according to body surface area. So formula is body surface area in meter square divided by 1.7 into the average dose. This is how a drug dose is calculated according to body surface area, particularly useful in case of cancer chemotherapy. It was the body size. Now second is the age. Both the extreme of age provides its own challenge, particularly very uh, low age like newborn and pediatric patient definitely require special attention in giving a drug, and extreme of the age very elderly people, they also require special attention while giving a drug. Let's see what is that. So in case of a child, the rough estimate of the dose can be derived from this formula that newborn requires one-fifth of the adult dose, whereas at the age of 1 year, the dose is roughly one-fourth of the normal adult dose. At the age of 3 years, it becomes one-third, and at the age of 7 years, it becomes 50% of the adult dose. But remember, this is a rough guide for the dose. But the child is small adult. There are certain difficulty in handling the kid. You can see by this image. There are certain difficulty in handling kid. Second thing, they have lower kidney function, immature hepatic enzyme, poor blood-brain barrier, low acidity, slow intestinal transient, and thin skin. So we have to be very careful while giving a drug, and drug which are utilized by any of these system. Another thing that there are difficulty in giving oral dose as well as by giving inhalation dose. So there are so many problems with giving the drug in the kids, and that does affect the effect of the drug. Now there are some special side effects we have to consider. Drug may lead to growth retardation or premature epiphyseal fusion. So this drug need to be avoided in the children. Now other extreme of the age, that is the elderly. In case of the elderly, there is a decreased renal function and there is decreased hepatic function. So metabolism of the drug is affected, and we have to give slightly lower dose. Apart from that, the absorption is poor and albumin is also less. So those drugs which are highly plasma protein bound may produce higher plasma concentration in case of the elderly. So in that case also we have to decrease the amount of the dose. In particularly elderly male, there is problem with the prostate. There are anticholinergic drugs which can easily produce difficulty in urination because of the prostate enlargement. So that is another thing we need to consider while prescribing to the elderly male. Now third is the gender, male and female differences. There are female mostly have a smaller body size and require less dose as compared to the male. That is in general idea. Apart from that, there are some special adverse effects which can only affect the male, like gynecomastia, development of the breast in case of male, that can only occur in the male. Then beta blocker and clonidine produces sexual dysfunction only in the male. Ketoconazole produces loss of libido only in the male. Because this drug either affect the blood flow or affect some of the hormone metabolism, that is why they produce particular type of side effect only in the male. Female should get special consideration while prescribing a drug regarding to the menstruation and the pregnancy. If the drug we are going to prescribe is going to affect the metabolism of the oral contraceptive pills, then it should be considered in particularly reproductive age female. That if you have to ask that whether the patient is taking any OC pill or not, and then prescribe a drug which does not affect the effect of the OC pill. So that is the male female difference of because of gender. Now pregnancy and can affect the kid. So teratogenic drugs should be avoided in the pregnancy even if it is beneficial for the mother. Now species and race is particularly important for the experimental drug, that we have to consider that when drug is coming into the market, first it is tested on the animal and then it comes to the human. So this difference is important there, that if it is producing effect in the animal, whether it is going to produce the same effect in the human. So species differences between species to species is there important. And race, particularly the countries where multiple races are living, like USA where there is Negroes, Asians and Americans are there, then that racial difference is important, but in India it is not that much important. Genetic. Now this is the most important basis which produces person to person variation in the response of drug. And there are two terms which you need to remember: pharmacogenetic and pharmacogenomic. Pharmacogenetic is a study of a genetic basis of variation of the drug response, and pharmacogenomic is a large term where we apply this genetic information to guide individual drug dose. It is said that in the future the drug will be tailor-made according to each and every person's genetic makeup. Each and every person will have their genetic makeup like ATM card, which you give to which he will give to his doctor, and doctor will give prescription according to his genetic suitability. So drug will have definitely have a response and minimum side effect in the person. So that is pharmacogenetic and pharmacogenomic, important topic for the future development. Now some example where pharmacogenetic is currently important, like G6PD deficiency, which produces hemolytic reaction to oxidizing drug. G6PD deficiency is particularly common in our region in the Sindhi population and Bhanusali population. So if that patient is there, then you have to consider before giving any sulfate drug or drug which can produce oxidative challenge, because if there is G6PD deficiency, then there can occur a very large scale hemolysis and it can lead to hematuria and even a kidney failure because of the clotting of the nephrons from the coagulated blood. So that is very important consideration you have to pay attention to. Then in case of a drug which is useful in TB, which is called isoniazid, which is metabolized by acetylation. There are two group of people found: fast acetylator and slow acetylator. In the slow acetylator, some of the side effect can be higher as compared to the fast acetylator. So that is another consideration of pharmacogenetic in the treatment. Now, route of administration, that is also very important. Parenteral route usually lead to faster effect, and drug given by different route can have a different effect. Like a same drug given by different route can produce different effect. For the example, magnesium sulfate. Magnesium sulfate, if given orally, it don't get absorbed, but it produces the purgation. It help in relieving constipation. When it is given parenterally, it produces CNS depressant, one of the very important drug in eclampsia of the pregnancy, where there is occurring epilepsy due to pregnancy. So it helps in suppressing eclampsia. So same magnesium sulfate, when given by parenteral route, produces the CNS depressant effect. Given by oral route, it produces the diarrhea. And when applied locally, it relieves edema by producing osmotic effect. So same drug given by different route producing a different effect. So route of administration also affect the overall effect of the drug. Environmental factor. There are certain environmental pollution which can increase the or decrease the metabolism of a drug. For example, insecticide like DDT, tobacco, and consumption of the charcoal boiled meal. This all induces the enzyme and fastens the metabolism of the certain drug. Tobacco consumer usually sometimes require higher dose of anesthesia as compared to the non-tobacco chewer. So these substances can increase the metabolism of certain drug. Now, other thing is food can also affect the drug. Like if you are taking a tea, it can affect the absorption of the iron in the food, or drug taken as iron in the form of the drug. Then timing of the drug can also matter. In case of corticosteroid, normal release of corticosteroid is a hormone, and it is released in the early morning. So if we are prescribing corticosteroid from outside in case to suppress the immunity, then it is best taken in the early morning, which will coincide with the natural corticosteroid cycle. Eighth factor is the psychological factor. Sometimes some doctors have such a personality that patient get cured by even just by seeing a doctor. The confidence of doctor itself is matters. That is called placebo effect, where the drug is not producing effect, but it is just a psychological factor which is producing effect. Now, all the faith healer, all the quacks, what they are doing a placebo effect. They are producing only psychological effect in the person, giving some water, some mantra lupani. This is all doing just placebo effect. Now, this placebo is useful when we are doing clinical trial of the drug. Drug is compared with the placebo, and it has to prove that drug is producing effect more than just a psychological effect. Currently in the COVID pandemic, you may have seen that remdesivir came, favipiravir came, they all tried, but ultimately it was proven that they are not producing any better effect than placebo. So it was just a psychological effect that patient was feeling that I am getting some drug and I am getting cured. His own psychology was treating him rather than a drug itself. So it is called placebo controlled trial. Whenever a new drug comes in the market, it has to have a placebo controlled trial. It has to prove that it is not just psychological effect, but drug itself is actually effective. Now, opposite of placebo is nocebo effect. If the patient does not have trust in the doctor, Even if a drug is producing its effect, its own negative psychological thinking can decrease the effect of the drug. That is called nocebo effect. So that is the psychological. Then pathological state. Drug can affect the disease and disease can also affect the drug. GIT disease will affect the oral absorption of the drug. If there is nausea and vomiting, we cannot give oral drug. Liver diseases. Liver produces the albumin, it produces the plasma proteins, and it is also responsible for metabolism of so many drugs. So bioavailability of certain drug will decrease, certain drug will increase. Those drugs going through high phosphorus metabolism, the bioavailability overall will increase, whereas pro-drug, the bioavailability will decrease. Albumin level will decrease, so plasma protein binding will be decreased. Drug which is metabolized by hepatic route by via bile will have a longer half-life. So that is the effect of oral effect of the disease, liver disease and the kidney disease. Excretion of the drug excreted unchanged in the urine decreases parallel to creatine clearance, and we have to calculate the dose according to the creatinine clearance of the patient. Plasma protein binding will also decrease because in the kidney disease many plasma protein will be lost in the urine, and due to overall these electrolyte changes, even blood-brain barrier also becomes weak. That is the effect of kidney disease. Heart failure. It reduces the absorption because the blood flow to GIT is decreasing. It reduces metabolism and excretion as well because again the blood flow to all these organs has been changed. Redistribution will decrease. Thyroid. Thyroid is responsible for regulating the basal metabolic rate. In hyperthyroidism, there will be higher basal metabolic rate, there will be high level of the heart rate and everything. So thyroid function can also affect the level of the drug. Now, 10th factor is other drug. Other drug can induce the enzyme or it can inhibit the enzyme. So their interaction will affect the one drug like oxipil and rifampicin. Rifampicin is useful in the tuberculosis. So if a married woman has a TB, then we have to take a history that if she is taking oxipil, then we have to advise her to switch over to some other method of the contraception, because rifampicin will induce the metabolism of oxipil and will lead to oxipil failure. 11th factor is accumulation. Some drug get accumulated over a period of a time if given repeatedly. So they can produce oral long-term effect. 12th is tolerance. Tolerance means drug is not able to produce same effect which it was going to produce previously. One of two such example I can give you. One is the salbutamol, a drug useful in asthma, but if taken continuously, then oral effect of salbutamol decreases and it does not produce same level of bronchodilation which it was producing previously. And similarly, a drug useful in the angina, that is nitroglycerin, if given continuously, then its effect on dilatation of the coronary decreases. There are sometimes there is also natural tolerance and some acquired tolerance. Particularly acquired tolerance is what we are looking here. Now, what is the mechanism of tolerance? Mechanism of tolerance can be due to pharmacokinetic or due to pharmacodynamic. Pharmacokinetic tolerance means the metabolism of the drug increases either by enzyme induction. Drug may induce its own enzyme and its metabolism increases, that is why pharmacokinetic tolerance occurs. Pharmacodynamic tolerance means continuous stimulation of the receptor lead to internalization of the receptor, and this lead to pharmacodynamic tolerance. That was all about today's lecture. various factors affecting the drug metabolism.